Okay, so this hangout is on air, is live. Oh, okay, so we're having a discussion, or hopefully have a discussion about atheists not really looking at the evidence, naturalists, evolutionists, whatever you want to call them, or they call themselves.
Some
Object.
politics, some politics. We were talking about politics a second ago. I hate politics. It's giving me a headache. I don't want to talk about Bernie Sanders.
Right. That was another hangout about Bernie Sanders,
Ugh.
and it's it gets worse all the time. It seems. I'm kind of holding out for Trump because he's not from the establishment, but that
Yeah.
that could backfire too because we don't know what he would do, but we're just hoping that he might do something good.
Well, where did he get his money? His father. So.
Well, yeah, he had money and he made some money, I guess. But that's kind of the American way. So
My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
yeah, well, his brother had the same kind of thing, and it didn't turn out so well for his brother, I guess. I don't know.
It's not a small loan back then, considering how old he is.
Yeah,
If you said $1 million today, I might believe him. That ain't nothing today, but not considering how old he is. $1 million back then was like $1 million. The way you think about it, $1 million today, that's gone in like months, and some people on hospital bills and whatever.
okay. I was getting a feedback from the other
Sorry.
window.
So saying a
Uh,
million dollars ain't $1 million anymore, that's for sure.
yeah. So I was hoping to get some atheists in here to get a discussion going about whether or not they're honestly looking at the evidence,
You
or if
Steve McRae in your side chat in the chat said repost link to Hangout or please direct invite.
it's posted in there. What, the YouTube? It's on Google.
Well, I don't. He just said that in your
Oh,
thing, so I'm gonna post the thing directly to him.
yeah. Go ahead and post it direct. I'll post it again, I guess.
Oh wait, you got somebody.
I'm getting Steve in. So
What's up? Wait, hold on a second. Ah, suck.
Oh, hey, sorry about that. Yeah, it was private there, JJ. I
Wait,
couldn't get
there
in.
he goes. There he goes. He's here.
I couldn't get in because it was a private call, and then it just won't link. So after you broadcasted it, it made it public. So
You
what
got.
up, girls, others, in betweens, whatever. Hey.
I'm sorry, Tommy's cranky with us tonight. He apologized to us.
Yeah, he had a message for you, Jungle. He basically said something to the effect, he still loves you, blah blah blah. Judgment passed upon you, but he loves you. Wants to have your firstborn child. Maybe I got it, not totally correct, but somewhere in that. Yeah, so somewhere paraphrased in there. The intent is that he loves you still.
I'll tell you the truth. Tommy tells me that every time he sees my firstborn child. He's like, "Give me your child now. How much do you want for him?"
Can I buy him off you?
It's true though, because my son is so cute and he just can't handle it. That's what it is.
Yeah, they're worth quite a bit in the black market nowadays, from what I understand.
Yeah, well, it depends on if you have Gerber babies.
Yeah, if they do dishes and windows, yeah, man, they're worth some bank.
Man, maybe
Wow.
there's some evolutionary process that creates Gerber babies that make millions of dollars on pictures that they take. I don't know.
Was it the Gerber? Well, Gerber baby, wasn't that Shirley Temple?
I mean, they got Gerber babies today. They have like a competition where you send a picture of your kid in and they contact you and say, okay, your kid's going to be a Gerber baby and so on.
Yeah, I know. But I think like the first Gerber was like Shirley Temple, and then like what was the name of that chick that did the Down, the baby of the Down, not Down syndrome, but Downy. What's her name? Oh goodness grief.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember something.
They also got like, I mean, you got to think about these companies, AngelSoft, all these companies outsource these pictures of babies that they need, and they'll pay millions of dollars for it.
Is Jungle with us?
Yeah.
JJ. JJ. Damn it.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm trying to deal with some situations, some stuff here, but go ahead.
Oh, don't leave me alone. Oh, don't leave me alone, you bastard.
Jungle has a situation. I'm gonna go smoke while you handle the situation, and you have room control. Oh wait, that's Brett Keane. Sorry, that was my best Brett Keane that I could do. Sorry.
Yeah, oh, yeah, Brett King.
I've never seen anything from Brett Kane,
I haven't heard from him in a damn dude, like 2 months, man.
He said he was quitting, I think, pretty much.
Yeah, that goes back and forth.
That's back there.
Wait, let's see. He was a Christian and an atheist and a Christian, and now he's going to be a Muslim or something next. I mean, watch the next reincarnation of Brett Keane.
Yeah, well, that's pretty dangerous if you want to be a Muslim, I think, I would say.
You have to pray 5 times a day and visit the Mecca once.
He's a bloody piece of meteorite. The stone they worship, I mean, damn.
Well, Jungle, before you started a hangout, why didn't you go watch the dang video? It's on Drag's channel. You should at least watch my debate with Wayne, so you at least understood, like where my argument was coming from. Why don't you just check it out before you start a hangout?
Well, you could present it to me too.
Well, okay. How about I just present the syllogism, and then you can tell me what premise you disagree with.
And I'll provide the links.
You know what a syllogism obviously is. So, okay, my first premise. All forms of speciation are macroevolution. Okay, and I would support that by the definition of macroevolution, which I gave multiple sources, include speciation. Do you agree and disagree?
Well, the speciation isn't macroevolution, though. It's just
Why not?
variation.
Why not? What is it? What is it about speciation? Actually, let me rephrase the question for you.
Did you say micro or macro? Did you say micro or macro, JD?
Macro. Yeah, I'm not even using micro in any of these definitions, but I can here. I mean, I will here. Jungle, do you agree that micro, right, evolution deals with processes? Excuse me, holy shit.
I wouldn't call it evolution, though.
I'm not using the word evolution. I'll for the next 20 minutes, I won't even use the word evolution. Okay, do you agree that, except for microevolution, that's a different word, microevolution...
But I wouldn't call micro the evolution, though. That
microevolution... Jungle, I'm not making the argument microevolution is evolution. It is, but I'm not making that argument. I'm saying, do you agree microevolution happens at a species level?
I wouldn't call it evolution. I would call it adaptation. Adaptation and variation and recombination.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question again.
Responding to the environment directly.
Okay, I'm going to ask the question again, because I'm not talking about evolution. Do you agree that microevolution is a term referring to processes that happen at the species level? Yes or no?
It's a process which is adaptation, recombination. It's
at the species level. Adaptation is a process, yes. So macroevolution is adaptation, genetic drift, gene flow at a species level. It's within a species. It's defined as.
But I wouldn't call it evolution. It happens, but I don't call that evolution.
Okay. Let's ask the panel here, Neo. Am I making the argument that it's evolution yet, Neo?
I typed in the side chat. I know.
Not yet.
I don't have it.
Chat, Steve. No.
No, I don't have.
Said in the side chat, blanket term.
I was saying the problem. I could read my own words. I don't need you. What I'm saying is the problem here is the umbrella term, the blanket term of evolution. Not the use of adaptation, speciation, and variation. Classical biology doesn't need to use the word evolution.
All right, let me ask you then, Neo. Okay, again, I am not making an argument for evolutionary theory. Okay, this is not the argument. So again, I will ask you, Neo. Does microevolution deal with processes such as adaptation, gene flow, genetic drift within a species? Is that correct or not correct?
It depends on the lens that you're looking at it from.
Uh,
I mean, you could look at it from a creationist side. You can look at it from an evolutionary side.
Okay, first of all, Neil, I've engaged with Ken Hovind. I've engaged with Dr. Sarfati, Jonathan Sarfati from CMI. These are not. This is something that not even them would question.
I know who
They
you
agree.
are. I know
Yeah.
who you are.
So they don't even argue that statement would be wrong. So if you discount that premise, you need to tell me why that premise is wrong. But what is microevolution then? If not, it's just what I just said.
Well, you said that you weren't trying to make a case for evolution, but you did.
And I'm not. No.
You
I'm
said
making-
microevolution.
You just said evolution, though.
You said microevolution.
I said with the exception of the word microevolution because it's different. The word is different, is it not? I'm not making a case for my evolutionary theory. I'm making a case that microevolution.
Right, but we don't call it evolution. We call it adaptation, responding to the environment, and recombination.
Ken Hovind has specifically says he has no problem with microevolution. He fully accepts
Right,
it.
that's it, but you're not talking to Kent Hovind.
All right, so how about this? According to biological textbooks, okay, not creations, but biological
And
textbooks.
that's definitions anyway.
Right. Would you agree that according to biological textbooks, microevolution is the study of these processes within a single population? Does that conform with in evolutionary biology, what they teach?
Depending on who wrote the textbook.
Right, and
Okay.
that's a label and that's definition.
Can you, Neil, will you please find me any definition that differs from that? I will take your time, please.
Yeah, actually, there's a published paper by Georgia Prudhomme. I didn't know if you ever read.
I know who Georgia Pena. Yeah, she's from creationministries.com.
Unfortunately, creationists do have published papers about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. How does she define microevolution?
Well, I'm not saying that's what. I'm just saying that there are creationists that do have published papers about this stuff. Is what you were asking for?
Yeah, okay. Find me one that disagrees with that definition.
Okay.
You know, I heard Neil mention that the other night that there are publications by creationists that are making it into the mainstream publications. So I think that goes against. Well, I think it goes against the theory that they're somehow blocked out of it, like they can't get in there.
Not blocked out of it. Not blocked out of it. However, I have yet to see a publication in, say, Nature, Oxford, any one of the Oxford journals that deals with nucleic acid research.
It's a conspiracy that they're not allowed to publish because they're creationists, and admitting that I know they don't publish anything related to the evidence of creationism, but to say that this conspiracy that they're barred from publishing anything.
You can't have both ways, what you're saying.
Yeah.
So how the peer review process works is it must meet the criteria. It must prove it. If it doesn't, it will not make it to the peer review. Thus, won't make publication.
So Neil couldn't find, I guess, the thing. So let's know. What do you think microevolution means in terms of biological context?
Well, like I said, I don't define it as being evolution. It's adaptation, responding to the environment through recombination and
we agree on that. That microevolution is adaptation by natural selection. It is genetic drift. I will even say
not only natural selection, and natural selection hardly has anything to do with it. It's a direct response to the environment.
No, it's not a direct response
by the genome. Selection has a little bit to do with it, but it can't account for all the variation that we see.
How about
because
this?
It's responding to the environment.
General, how about we do this, if you don't mind? MMA, would you be so kind to I'm going to name a term, and then I'm going to ask Jungle, and we're going to see which one we agree upon, and then we go from there to build a framework, if we got time. This may take a few. But would you be so kind to do that, MMA?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of agreed as to what we're talking about. We're talking about recombination, right?
Let's make sure. I want him to write this down so we can go back and check. Okay, so we agree that recombination of DNA occurs. I mean, that's how heredity works. I mean, that's how you get
agree it's a response to the environment. You agree to that, right?
No, I'll explain that except one thing at a time. Let's go one term at a time. So we do agree that recombination takes place, okay? You agree that DNA has the recombination, and that's how you get your unique genome that you have from your parents. Would you agree with that?
Right, but that's...
Okay. The recombination we agree upon.
Recombination is the same thing. It goes back and forth.
Okay, yeah,
That's
it's
not
recombinant DNA.
what causes the
Next one, Steve.
All right, next term. Okay.
differentiation.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Differentiation is caused by responding to the environment.
okay. One term at a time, Jungle. You're jumping ahead in. Differentiation has to do with cells. Okay. So I mean, when you have a somatic cell and your cell differentiates, it means it becomes a brain cell or.
No, I'm talking about differentiation of the
And that's
different
definition from your
what you call speciation.
Okay, well again, let's go each definition here. Do you agree that adaptation exists?
Right, definitely.
Okay,
Adaptation does exist.
do you want me to give the definition for that? A definition. I don't have my. I'm not going to go to my computer right now. I'll give you a basal definition. See if you agree with. How about adaptation? We'll say is the ability of a population to respond to selective pressure.
To the environment, right?
Selective pressures. We'll call it that. Okay, so we
Right.
agree there. Okay, so that's
Right.
another one. Okay, natural selection. Do you agree that happens?
Yeah, but that's not. It doesn't. It's not responsible for all the variation that we see.
Again, you're jumping ahead here. There's a lot of things that cause variation. Do you agree with natural selection? You do. I will define natural selection basally. Nature's way of choosing the genome, organism with a genome with the best phenotypical traits to their environment and conditions of to respond to selective pressures. Something simple like that. So I'm not going to get too technical, but basically natural selection is the fitness of an organism. The more they have the ability to change their environment, from a population level, that's natural selection. You agree upon that? Okay.
The fitness, but it's not always necessarily the most fit that's chosen. Selected.
Well, fit has to do with how their genotype is.
Next one, John.
My phenotype.
Right.
So they have better traits to adapt to their surroundings. They're fitter. If they have thicker fur and it gets cold, they're fitter. If they
they're not necessarily selected, but they often are. Yes. Go ahead.
Like, what do you think does the selection?
No, Steve, he agrees.
Okay. All right. So we agrees on that one. So we're gonna move on. Genetic drift. Do you believe that genetic drift happens?
Yeah.
And briefly, we all know genetic drift. It's just basically how your alleles change because of random sampling. You basically can have a fixed recessive chromosome in the population, or you can lose one. It's called loss of heterozygosity. So that we agree there. How about gene flow? Do you agree with gene flow? Migration is called.
Gene migration in what sense?
That you have two different populations, and gene flow goes from one population to another. It tends to try to tries to prevent speciation. It actually hampers speciation. It's actually a mechanism against.
Be like homeostasis or something?
Well, homeostasis would be in a single population, but I'm talking if you have a population that's getting genes from another population. Migration is corresponding interdependent population. The gene is an influx of genes.
You're breaking up a little bit.
There's an influx of genes in a population.
Influx. So that would tend to change it, right?
Well, I don't know how to explain. You've got two populations, and they're isolated, and yet there's still a couple from one population that fly over to the other population and mate. They're going to introduce their genes in that first population, right? That's called gene flow.
Okay. Yeah, I get the idea.
Okay,
Yeah, I get that. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's just okay. You get an influx of another population. Okay, hold on a second.
Next point, Steve.
Okay, so I would say, oh my God. Okay, I would say that those are pretty much the main processes for what we just call microevolution. There are some others, but those are pretty much the main ones. I mean, you can get into predatory prey models and things like that, but for the most part, we call those processes what happens when we look at a single species. We go, okay, here's a species. I want to see what the gene flow is. I want to see what the genetic drift is. I want to see if they're adapting by natural selection. All that, we're going to coin the term microevolution.
Right, but why do you have to use the term evolution since evolution's got nothing to do with it?
Well,
okay. Well, I mean, I've defined the word evolution before for you, and I guess we're going to have to go that route. When I say the word evolution, I'm going to be meaning to be a change of allelic frequency from a given population of species, gene pool, from one generation to the next generation over time. So in other words, simply a change of allelic frequency. If genes change, that's why I'm using the word evolution.
But you're assuming evolution, though,
No, sir.
in the process.
I'm defining it as genes changing.
Yes, but that's not what the entire definition of evolution is. Evolution encompasses more than that. Evolution is more than that.
No, sir, it's not. The definition.
Evolution is coming up with information that's not there.
There's no definition ever you're going to find of anything of the sort using the word information.
Of course, because you're not looking at the evidence. That's the whole point of this discussion is that you're not looking at the evidence.
Okay, so you basically you're changing the definition of the word evolution.
No, I'm not changing anything. You have two definitions of evolution.
Well,
show me the other one.
They're unrelated. They're unrelated. The two ideas of evolution that you have are unrelated. They don't. You can't tie them together. You
Jungle,
can't
let's have a look
bait
at
and
this
switch.
way.
You can't mix them together.
You agree with Steve on...
Because one is observed and the other one is not observed.
Hold on. You agree with Steve on genetic recombination, cell differentiation / adaptation. You agree on natural selection. You agree on genetic drift and gene flow. You agree on all those terms with Steve.
They're all observed. Those are observed.
We call that in biology microevolution. You can call it wombat, dipicilia, crapiola, fuckaracatoli.
Right. You're assuming that that's what evolution leads. You're assuming that leads to evolution, but you haven't proved it.
I am not making any logical conclusions, Jungle. Why
you just labeled it evolution.
Jungle. All of those things contribute to the mechanisms of action for evolution. You just agreed to them.
You are saying you're thinking it leads to evolution. You haven't proved that it leads to evolution.
Okay, Jungle. How about we do this? I will, for the sake of argument, okay, I'm going to say this. How about we say those processes lead to a change of allelic frequency? Can we do that?
Yeah, but you have to tie it to evolution. You have to tie it to evolution.
Okay,
You're not connecting it to evolution. You're macroevolution, which.
Jungle, I just want to scratch you by your little fuzzy little ear. One step at a time, okay? I mean, you're going from A, P, D, potato.
Well, one is observed. You're going from what's observed and saying it's the same thing as what's not observed.
Well,
do you agree those things contribute to genetic allelic frequency changes? Do you agree there?
Oh.
You said yes.
I mean, if it's observed, it's yes. If it's not observed, it's no.
Steve, what you should do now is point to examples where we've observed that through these mechanisms.
I don't.
Show me an example where you can get information that's not there.
Even using the word information. Jungle, work with me here, okay? I'm asking you once again, do those mechanisms cause genes to change? It's very simple.
Yeah, they change.
Moving on. Okay, so now that we know that the genes change. Now.
I mean, but not the basic part. You know, it's not the basic structure is not changed. The basic form is not changed. Just variations of the form was changed.
Okay, but the population changes its genetic frequency. Okay, we all.
Because if you change the basic structure and form, it's not gonna be viable. It's gonna, early on, you make the change early on, and it's gonna go all the way down the line and mess everything up, and it's not gonna be viable.
Okay, great. So we at least agree upon populations we're gonna have genetic differences. Okay.
Yeah, so external differences.
Okay, now.
Peripheral differences.
Now let's move on to the second half here, since we got the first half established. What do you want to call the definition of speciation? I'll let you define it.
The definition of speciation. I don't call it speciation.
Okay, so you don't think speciation exists?
Not in the sense that you would like to think that it leads to evolution.
So, Steve, I can address this one. I'll do a screen share for him of some of the papers that you've pointed to where it deals with speciation. So would you be fine with that, John, if I can screen share?
Okay, while he's screen sharing that,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm screen sharing right now, just so you know. Jungle.
So you disagree that speciation exists, but if I give you examples of peripatric or sympatric or allopatric, you're going to say they don't exist. Is that going to be your argument, or can we move on to something else? And how about I define speciation? A single ancestral population that branches to two daughter populations. That's not really a perfect definition by any means because of other things like anagenesis, but for cladiogenesis, it's pretty basic. So how about a species that over time produces two species that are no longer reproductively viable? Would you say that happens? Have we observed that?
Yeah, that's observed many times.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, this is non-controversial stuff here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to define as speciation. That's what it means, literally. Speciation, to speciate, to become new species. Now,
Right, and that's what confuses the original kind. It confuses the fact that there are original kinds.
okay, John, I'm leading you down the path here. I mean, come on, don't work with me here. Okay, so we've agreed upon a lot of these basic things now. Now, if I say that those mechanisms were there in a single population, right, which we agree upon, and I have speciation now. How many species do we have with speciation?
You see, that's the thing with the definition of speciation. You're going to have more species than what there really are kinds.
Okay, I'm not talking about kinds, but species, there are more than one species, right? You are dealing with more than one.
Yeah, that makes many species, which is not to be confused with the original kinds.
I'm not confusing it with the original kind. You can have anything you want with the kind. That's not even my argument. Now, you have how many populations that you're dealing with speciation? You have more than one, correct? You have at least two daughter populations. Would you agree?
Yes, yeah. There are different populations, of course.
Okay, so if I have two species, I'm going to call them species A and I'm going to call them species B. And I look at species A
Which
and
are
I'm
the
going
same kind. They're both the same kind, really.
to, the
In
same kind.
reality.
Can they interbreed?
No.
So that's what's the important part. Call them the same kind, it makes no difference. Okay, so species A.
It does make a difference because we know they were originally the same kind. We know that for a fact.
Fine, they're the same kind. Whatever. It makes no difference to my argument. How about that? Species A, we're looking at the processes that happen in that population. We're looking at the gene flow. We're looking at the genetic drift. We're looking at the adaptation by natural selection. All the things we agreed upon, which I said is it leads to a change of allele frequency. We're looking at just that happening in population A. Okay? Now I look at the same processes and I look at them in species B. Okay? When I do that, I now have two different populations that I'm looking at their data, right? Of how they're changing. That is what I am saying is macroevolution because you have two different populations, not one, as we originally agreed.
Okay, so you're saying speciation is macroevolution, but that's not what macroevolution really is.
That actually is. I mean,
I am demonstrating this at the same time with the screen share as well, Jungle.
Jungle, you can change the definition, but you're never going to win on that because
No, it's not my definition. It's your belief that an amoeba or bacteria or whatever changed into everything there is.
this
It's your belief that you have to prove.
How common descent. Okay, you're conflating very different concepts here. Macroevolution is not the same exact thing as common descent.
But speciation is not changing from a bacteria to a human being. That's not speciation. And it's not observed.
It is not required. All it is to observe macroevolution is when you're dealing with multiple populations. That's why we have observed it. Period. Since you're not looking at a single population anymore, you're looking at multiple. That is why I was in this debate.
We have lots of different kinds of horses, lots of different kinds of elephants, lots of different kinds of apes.
But they all are different populations, and when you're looking at them individually, that's macroevolution. So my argument was, all speciation is macroevolution, demonstratable, definitionable. Is that a word? But you can look.
Besides the fact that they're all buried by the same global flood.
Okay, you're going off tangent here.
Meaning that they all existed at the same time anyway.
Jungle, you're going off tangent here. You're like,
No, it's not off tangent. I'm just letting you realize what you're going up against.
oh, I've already, yeah, well, I have no problem with that because I've disproved that numerous times. But so we
No, you can't disprove the global flood.
easy. We've established that speciation is macroevolution by definition. You've obviously accepted all the definitions. You've agreed that speciation does exist, and by definition, since speciation is more than one species, does not fall into microevolution. It does fall into change of allelic frequency over multiple populations, which is macroevolution.
That's a bait and switch. You're saying that the speciation is macroevolution.
Hold on, Jungle. I did screen share several papers on this topic. I will link you to them. You have almost no excuse.
There's no bait and switch there because I started from the beginning and I use the same terminology to the very end.
Well, Steve, you should know how much information is
agree.
totally unrelated between the different kinds of animals. You should know that. And you should also know that there's no fabrication, there's no way to fabricate that information. That's
Again,
not there.
you're going off on a tangent. You're not talking about the actual.
No, because it's a lot of information. It is a lot of specific information that is in one kind that's not in the other kind.
Well, I've demonstrated, and
you have no way to come up with that amount of information in
so I've demonstrated
a reasonable amount of time. In 20 billion years, you couldn't come up with it, that kind of information.
I've demonstrated by logical reasoning, by logic, monas ponens, P therefore P implies Q, P therefore Q, by my first premise that all forms of speciation are macroevolution.
But you're assuming that speciation is macroevolution. You just assume that.
Jungle, can I finish? Yeah, let me finish my syllogism.
That's your difference. That's your definition of the difference between micro and macroevolution is speciation.
Jungle, you're not letting me get my syllogism out. You can refute the premises after my syllogism.
Speciation doesn't make anything turn into anything else.
Jungle, you can refute my syllogism after my syllogism is done. My syllogism is as such: all forms of speciation are macroevolution, supported by the fact that we agreed upon terms of speciation existing through more than one species, and macroevolution dealing with microevolution dealing with a single species, macro with multiple. And then my second premise was allopatric speciation is a form of speciation. That is almost tautology, but allopatric speciation is a form of speciation.
You can't equate speciation. You can't equate speciation with macroevolution. You can't do that.
Finishing my syllogism. Allopatric speciation is speciation. Again, demonstrated and accepted. The conclusion, therefore, allopatric speciation is macroevolution. We can draw from that we have observed allopatric speciation. As per Jungle's acceptance that we have observed it, and they observed speciation. Therefore, we have observed macroevolution. Therefore, I conclude my presentation. And
you have not observed macroevolution. You observed speciation of the same kind.
I don't think anybody's listening, but I don't know. And I don't know if you can delete this after you're done. But if anybody would like to come in and refute that, I am more than happy to. But I have made my case. Talk amongst yourselves. Thank
you. Okay, Steve. Sorry, Jungle. All right. So I'm screen sharing this paper called Predictors of Reproductive Isolation in Ring Species, Complex Following Genetic and Ecological Divergence. Conclusions. These results show that instantina, the evolutionary outcomes of ecological divergence differ from those of genetic divergence, whilst evident properties of taxa may emerge via ecological divergence, such as adaptation to local environment, evolution, is likely to be a byproduct of the processes that contribute to overall genetic divergence, such as the time and geographic isolation, rather than being divergent direct outcomes of local adaptation. So this shows that evolution does happen. This paper shows it does happen.
Can you understand the difference between horizontal variation and vertical transformation?
You don't know what you're talking about. I can guarantee you don't know what you're talking about.
Tell us the difference, because
you have to support a vertical transformation.
What's a vertical transformation, please? Please define your terms you're using.
Yeah, it's your complete version of evolution, macroevolution.
Never heard that. I've never heard that in regards to
That's why. Well, you have to open your mind a little bit and
Well, no.
understand that
You've got to
you
provide
can.
where this is
Well,
defined.
listen to what I'm
What
saying.
biology
You're
book?
not
What
listening to what I'm
journal?
saying. You're not listening to what
There.
I'm saying. When you
In
have variation
where?
of the same kind, that's horizontal variation of the same thing. It's not a vertical transformation to be something that has no information to be, directives to be.
that
I've
was
just
word
given you.
complete word
I've just
salad.
And what you believe is a
no,
vertical transformation without
no,
any
no, 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 no.
mechanism, without any
No,
mechanism
you've
to give
agreed
you
to
that
the
information,
mechanisms.
to come
Jungle,
up with the information.
Jungle, you've agreed to the mechanisms with
For
Steve.
horizontal variation and what you call speciation.
And with when they are isolated for ring species, they'll adapt to their environment
That's
so much so
horizontal.
that they won't be able be to reproduce with the
It's
other group.
still horizontal variation. It's not a vertical transformation.
Evolution, though,
No, it's
it
not.
is
It's
yes,
not
it
a
is.
vertical transformation. It's not
They're,
coming up with information that's
they're
not there
adapting. They're
to
adapting to
be.
their environment. They're isolated. They're adapting
Right,
to it, and then
right,
when they go back, they are unable. So it's this new species,
right. That's
a ring
horizontal
species.
transformation. It's observed,
Yes, and it's by the product of adaptation to their environment
which is
by the
observed.
mechanisms by the mechanisms of which you subscribe to and say that you accept.
Oh, we have one else. Can you give me an example of two things that you say that are not observed? I don't know what you're. I can't get this whole vertical
What's
horizontal difference
Yeah,
down.
what's not observed is a vertical transformation to be something that has no written directives to be.
Give me an example of what. Give me an example of what you think vertical, whatever the hell you call it, would be in evolution. Give me a specific example that we have. Give me two things that you think an example.
You have no way of proving that a cow-like, deer-like creature became a whale. That's an assumption.
Why would it be an assumption? Okay, do we have fossils of these Pakicetus and Amblicitus and whale
Still an
homology?
assumption because there's still information that one has that the other one has no way of getting.
You're not answering my question. Do we have fossils of these things?
You have fossils that are unrelated, they have different information, and they have no way of acquiring that information for a vertical transformation.
We have
We, we
fossils.
do use we do use mitochondrial DNA. You do realize that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's
You don't have a basis for coming up with information that's not there.
Do you know the difference between mitochondrial DNA? Do you?
can you
Yeah,
tell me
mitochondrial DNA is mitochondrial DNA
where's
No,
that found?
Mark.
Hang on, where's that found at?
in the mitochondria.
Okay, and that's known as we call that cytoplasmic inheritance. Okay, and
Yes,
cytoplasmic
but you assume that, yeah.
cytoplasmic inheritance means inheritance from
But
non-nuclear DNA.
but you assume that without explaining all
We
the
know.
information that's not there.
Jungle, you use the term assume so incorrectly that you would be laughed off any stage because the word assumption means to make a statement without evidence for it to be
You
axiomatic.
have no evidence for acquiring information that's not there.
So, Jungle, do I have evidence that mitochondrial DNA is not passed down by nuclear DNA?
Mitochondrial DNA is passed down from one to the other.
Nuclear DNA.
Nuclear DNA is passed down from one to another.
Right. But is mitochondrial DNA from nuclear DNA?
No.
Okay. That's why it's called cytoplasmic inheritance. Which you just said I have no evidence for.
But you assumed that all
Why
animals have common mitochondrial DNA. That's an assumption that hasn't been proved.
am I assuming anything if I just demonstrated to you that mitochondrial DNA, as you said, comes from mitochondria, and nuclear DNA comes from the nucleus of the cell, and they are not related to each other. The mitochondrial DNA does not come from the nucleus DNA. That's why it's called cytoplasmic inheritance. And you just said you're assuming, Steve. How am I assuming if you just literally agreed with me that mitochondrial DNA?
Because you're assuming that all mitochondrial DNA has the same origin in every living thing. Well, it does, in fact, from the same maker, but not from evolution.
MMA, did I make any such argument whatsoever beyond the claim that mitochondrial DNA does not come from nuclear DNA? Did I make any other claim other than
No,
Okay.
you stuck with that.
Jungle? You go way beyond what a person is making a statement for. Way, way beyond, man. You got to stop doing that. Listen to what the argument being presented is. Okay? By making an assertion, I will try to back it the best I can. But don't go 50,000 yards further beyond what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you have to come up with the information that's not there. How are you getting the information that's not there between the different kinds?
We're having a discussion right now on mitochondrial DNA, which I said was cytoplasmic inheritance, and you said that is an assumption. Can I get a check on that? Is that exactly what he said?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about between kinds, though. I'm not talking about within the same kind.
No matter how you meant it, okay? You told me that I was assuming something when I did not have an assumption. I made a statement backed upon which I could back with actual
But you're assuming that all mitochondrial DNA has the same origin, other than the fact that they were made to be what they are.
Again, that's a different topic, and do you want to go down that route? Because
But if you're using that as evidence for evolution, you have to prove that how the information is made that's not there
How do you get
between kinds before you can say that all mitochondria has the same origin.
Well, we know we do. It's called mitochondrial Eve, and she lived about, correct me if I'm wrong, between 100 and 200,000 years ago, or 200 and 300,000 years old. In that ballpark, a few 100,000 years ago. We could determine that because it's a natural lineage. It doesn't come through the paternal line. Okay, we know this. Okay, I know you don't even disagree with that. Now, as far as information, you talked about recombinant DNA, and because of that, you have some unique things in your genome that your parents don't have. That makes you're different. Your phenotype is even different. That's vertical gene transmission. Is that what you're referring to? Vertical gene transmission?
No, it's horizontal. It's recombination of the same thing.
No, it's vertical. It means vertical. It goes from your parents to you. Is top to bottom. Okay?
It's not vertical. It's horizontal. It's variation.
I'm screen sharing it literally to you. Jargon.
That's not the vertical I'm talking about. The vertical I'm talking about is
we're talking about mitochondrial.
That's not there.
All right, Chunky, you're making stuff up now, and
I'm not making stuff up. It's what you believe that things become something that they have no information to be, no directives to be.
Explain this to you again. And by the way, is there anybody watching this? I'm just curious.
Two viewers.
So those two people are learning something right now.
And it's going to be posted too. And it's going to be posted too. So.
I'm here too.
You don't count.
Oh yeah.
You don't count.
I'm here too, but it's going to be posted, and you still have no way of coming up with information that's not there.
Okay. Your vertical gene transmission is meaning that your parents have passed down directly their genetic information to you. That is what
recombination of what was already there.
Vertical gene transmission. Do you accept that?
That's horizontal recombination of the same thing that was already there. It's not coming up with anything new.
Jungle, I'm going to phrase this again. Vertical gene transmission is when your parents transmit their genes down.
Yeah, but you're confusing the terms.
Jungle. Is that vertical?
When I'm talking about vertical, I'm talking about variation of the same thing. When I'm talking about, I'm talking about new information that's not there. Horizontal is variation of the same thing.
Again, is vertical gene transmission from parents to you? Is that vertical gene transmission in biology? Yes or no?
Well, that's your definition of you're trying to put vertical in there.
Okay, so
and confuse that with what I'm talking about vertical.
We're not confusing anything what you're talking about because what you're talking about doesn't exist. But
it does exist. It does exist that you believe that something comes up with information that's not there.
No, I don't. So I don't know why you keep saying that. Please don't tell me what I believe because it's really annoying, Jungle.
It's annoying, Steve, for you to be pushing evolution on people when you have no evidence to prove it, to back it up. You have no evidence to back up for all the information that's not there. The information's not there. You have no evidence of coming up with any evidence. You can't tell me anything about evolution because it's all imagined. It's all imagined. You imagine it. It's wishful thinking.
Okay, Jungle, everything I just gave you All those definitions we used are evolutionary terms. They're used in evolutionary biology for the theory of evolution. All of them. And you agree to every single one of them, which means you do accept some part of
I
evolution.
accept what's observed. I do not accept your belief of what's not observed, that you acquire information that's not there.
Okay.
Because that's not observed and it's not reality. It's your imagination, your belief, your
It's a
fearful.
science. It's a science, but
No,
you
it's not science. It's all imagined. It's all a myth.
Oh my
That's the
God!
whole point. It's
Why?
all a myth.
Why
It's
is
all
evolution?
imagined. It's
Hold
not
on,
science. It's
Steve.
all.
You know,
What's
we already
what?
made our. He knows he's wrong. He cannot refute science. So he basically will find things and just say
Science is what you can observe, Steve. Science is what you observe, not what you
You can observe
extrapolate, read.
speciation. Look,
What you
I'm gonna
believe is
screen
not
share.
science.
what is it that I believe that we cannot observe?
You believe
Look,
that a microbe type of bacteria thing made everything turn into everything that there is.
Do you believe that's how science works? That we have to go back in time to observe something for it to be science? Is that what you believe?
You have to prove it.
Yes.
Before you can teach it, you have to prove it. You have to have evidence for it, and you
that's
have no
already done.
evidence. You have no evidence
What
for
am I screen
acquiring.
sharing? What am I screen sharing?
You have no
Right?
evidence
Biological
for
evolution on the origin of your species.
Jungle,
acquiring information that's not there. There's a lot of information between kinds that you have no evidence of acquiring that information. That's
the
not
evidence
there.
Screen
was I
sharing
gave.
it.
I can't see it, but the evidence is gene flow, genetic drift, adaptation by natural selection, and other processes. Everything I told you is evidence, and you
That
just
makes a lot of horses. It makes a lot of elephants. It makes a lot of dogs. It makes a lot of cats. You have not proved that there is a connection between the different kinds.
well, that's a different topic. I agree. I agreed with you as
That
far as
is the
how
belief. That is the main
No,
assertion of
jungle.
evolution. So
it's not.
you
Stop.
can't prove evolution then.
Oh, I can't prove. I can't prove it by the definition of proof, but I can demonstrate it to 100%
No.
certainty or damn
No,
near 100%.
there's no certainty. There's no certainty because you have no way of coming up with the
I'm
evidence, with the
screen
information.
sharing it to you, jungle. What are you smoking?
You
You can't say it
that
doesn't
doesn't
exist.
show me how
It's giving
how
you
the evidence was there
research.
was not
It's
there.
giving you research. Look,
Do
this
you
is just one
understand what I'm
example.
saying? Do you
You don't
understand what I'm
understand me.
saying? That
You
there's a
don't
lot of
understand.
information between apes and humans that are
How
unique
much,
to what they are.
Jeff, how much DNA do we share with chimpanzees?
You're ignoring what I just said, Steve.
I'm not ignoring it. I'm totally, yeah, actually, I'm totally ignoring it because I don't want to do your jungle jargon, word jargon, jumble crap. Um, tell me
Well, so you admit there's a lot of information between apes and humans that is not the same. You admit
there's
that.
not, no, there's only less than 1%. That's not a lot.
Yes, it is a lot
Oh
because
my,
it accounts for a lot.
dude, if you're
Wait a minute, hold on a second, miss.
if you're 98.5% similar to a chimpanzee, then that is the majority of your similarities. 1.5 is different. How is that a majority if you're only 1.5% different? I mean, this makes no sense. This is silly. I mean, are you there?
Yeah, man. I'm
So
just.
all this
Yeah.
evidence, and the only refutation is, oh, we have no evidence, and yet we just sat here for like 45 minutes and gave him a
No,
crap
you
ton of.
did not give me any evidence for information that's not there. You have no way of coming up with the information that's not there. That's unrelated information. It's unique to each kind that there is.
Jungle, we just said when recombinant DNA, that is new information to your genome that was not in your. Wait. Let's talk about this. Jungle, you said recombinant DNA exists. You say that because of recombination, the frequency, or I should say, the alleles in your body are different from your parents. You have different genetic information that did not exist in your parents. So where'd it come from?
Steve, it's recombination of the same thing that was already there.
Where did the information come from? It's new information to
It
you.
was already there, Steve. You're changing something that's already there. You're not coming up with information that's not there.
You
That's
are.
the
That's
difference.
recombination
That
DNA.
is the difference. You got to understand that.
No, Jungle. You
You're
cannot
not understanding what the point is, what the problem is with evolution.
Jungle. Do
And
you
anybody
have?
that studies evolution knows that's what the problem is.
There is no problem. The only problem is in your mind, Jungle.
That
Again,
if if
okay,
you change information that's already there, that's not evolution because the information is already there. You're changing what's already there, and you're not coming up with new information that's not there.
Jungle. Yes or
You
no?
don't understand what the problem is, or you. That's what I'm saying. You're not being genuine. You're not being honest. You're
You got,
you're ignoring science. You're ignoring the facts. You're
God,
ignoring
that's
a
laughable,
well-known
Jungle.
problem, a
but
well-known
this
problem within science and evolution that evolution
Jungle,
has.
Jungle,
this is
And
Jungle.
what
yet you
happens.
still want to push evolution as if there was some substance to it,
What
when you
happens
have
when
no basis whatsoever.
Can I talk now,
I'm
Jungle? Can I talk? This is what happens when Jungle doesn't have a scientific refutation. When
You
Jungle
have no scientific basis,
I'm
Steve.
screen sharing it right now to you,
Steve,
Jungle.
no, and that doesn't show me how
It's
you
a
get
research
information that's
paper.
not
It's a
there.
peer-reviewed research
That
paper.
does not show me how you get information that's not there. The only thing you can do is change information that's already there.
are you gonna let me talk? Or maybe invite
That's not how you get information that's not there. You don't seem to understand what the problem is.
Jungle? Let's go over the problem. But if you don't let me
Or
talk.
you're being dishonest, disingenuous.
Let me ask you a question. Again, if you're not going to be talking, why bother here? Because I mean, this is what you do when you get back in a corner. You don't have any
I'm
evidence
not
for
backed in the
position.
corner,
Yes,
Steve.
you
Just
are.
present your evidence. Don't
I'm
don't
doing it
say anything
now.
about me. I have nothing to do with the discussion. Present your evidence.
I'm doing it now.
Do you have unique genome in your body that is not in or related to? Well,
It's recombination. I already told you. It's changing what was already there.
new
It's
information by definition.
changing what was already there. It was already there, Steve. You're changing something, the mechanism that was already there. You're not coming up with a new mechanism.
Jungle, yes or no? And I just want a yes or no answer. Is that information unique and new to you and your genome? Yes or no? If you don't answer yes or no, I'm leaving. I just want a simple yes or no. And I'll leave.
Be ignorant. You can be ignorant if you want, all you want. It doesn't change anything
Everybody in your
because
audience,
it's
I want,
changing information that's already there. Do you understand the difference?
I want everybody listening, and when you put this up on your YouTube channel, I want everybody to pay
You
attention.
need
And
to
I
understand the difference.
asked a very simple yes or no question. And the very simple yes or no question was,
Of course, it's unique, Steve, but it's unique in the sense that it's changed the information that was there.
is it new information to your genome?
No, it's not. It's changing what was already there.
If it is unique, is
It's
it
unique, but you're ignoring what I'm saying.
so?
It's
Is it
changing. It's unique to what was there before because it's changing what was already there. It's not coming up with information that wasn't there.
what is your answer? Is it new to you? Yes or no?
It's unique to me.
I didn't say unique. I changed the question. Is it new to you? Yes or no?
It's information. It's changing existing. How can you not understand what I'm saying? It's changing existing information that was already there.
I'm going to be leaving because Jungle cannot answer yes or no question, which I'm going to ask one last
I
time.
already answered you, Steve.
You
I already
didn't-
said it's unique to me.
I am not
I
answering.
already said it's unique to me.
I am
But
not
it was a
answering.
change of what it was already there. It's a change of information that was already there. It's not coming up with a new information.
Jungle, I'm rephrase the question. Please answer the question. Like I said, I am leaving because if you do not
Go
answer,
ahead and leave, Steve, because that's the whole point of the discussion. You're not being honest. You're not being straightforward. You're being disingenuous, and you're pushing ideas that have no basis in science or reality.
Jungle, hang on. Okay, I'm leaving here in a second, but I want to, before I leave, obviously people are going to be watching this video, and I want them to judge for themselves who was being dishonest and who was not answering the questions appropriately.
You are being dishonest.
And who is presenting a logical
That's the
argument.
whole point of this discussion right here. You're being dishonest.
I'm going to ask, I presented a very coherent scientific explanation. Again, I won my debate with Wayne, 31 to
Yeah,
9.
in your head, you won the debate, not with
that's
me,
why he
and
changed
not
his
with
mind.
reality, and not with science.
Let me also finish. Wayne Fillmore also not only capitulated, he actually changed his position 2 hours later and agreed with me
That doesn't prove anything, Steve. Where are
that
you getting the information that's not there?
macroevolution exists. And I'm actually having
Where
an
are
award.
you getting the information that's not there?
And I'm actually having an award from him. I'm actually coming up with
Where are you coming up with the new information that's not there, Steve?
that actually Lightning and I came up with called the Fillmore.
A change to existing information isn't coming up with information that's not there.
And I'll be presenting it on Talking Shit Tuesday, hopefully. But anyways, this is what Jungle does. He just keeps interrupting people when they make a coherent argument. I'm gonna leave with one
You
question.
talk all the time. You talk all this nonsense all the time, and I can't get a word edgewise. And people kick me out,
You can talk. You're in my hangouts all the time, and you can
and you
speak.
kick me out.
Well, people kick you out of their hangouts like Tommy did because you were being lying and disingenuous. That's why you
No,
get.
you're being disingenuous. You're the one that are lying
No.
because I'm saying what's all observed and what's not observed, and you're coming up and saying that's the same thing.
All right. Well, you can finish your hangout, but let me again. I'm gonna leave with one last question. The question
It's
was to
not the same thing.
Jungle. Does he have information that is unique to his genome that is not in existence in his parents' genome? He
It's
is
unique because it changed what was already there, Steve.
and new. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Is it?
It's
I think.
unique and new because it was changed what was already there.
Oh, so it is new information in your genome.
It's not a new set of information. It changed what was already there, Steve. It's not coming up with a new set of information.
Thank you very much. Jungle has admitted that is new information.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for admitting yourself that it's not coming up with information that was not already there.
Alright, so Jungle, you do realize I'm screen sharing you multiple research papers on this very question. So this is from Molecular Biology and Evolution from Oxford Journals, and it goes on to the genetic basis
That just
of
shows
human
how wrong,
evolution.
how bad they are.
Okay, so
It shows
what
how
papers?
ignorant they are. They're not looking
It's
at
a
the
research
evidence.
paper. This is a research. These are research papers.
Yeah, and they're
It's
not
genetics.
researching what
I'm
the
talking about
evidence is. They're not looking at what the
this
evidence
is
is.
just that. This is just that. Here's one from the National Academy of Sciences. Same search result. Human evolution. I mean, what's your,
So just because it's written
how
human
look at
evolution,
all
you
this.
believe it.
Look,
Just because it
this
says
is
evolution, you believe it.
research.
That's evidence to you.
That's
That's evidence for you
research
because it says
data.
evolution. That's evidence.
Yes, it's about peer review.
That's evidence. I don't
It's gone
care.
past.
I'm a peer.
You do.
I'm part of the peer that you need to be listening to. You're not listening to your
No,
peers because
you
your
have
peer
no
review is a
formal
total farce.
education.
Your
How's it a
peer review
farce?
is a total farce.
How's it?
It's a
How's
total
this? How's
farce
this a farce?
because you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not
Because
responding to what I'm saying.
you're arrogant of the
You're not.
situation
You
of
are
the
the one being
data.
arrogant. You're not responding. You're not
What's
listening to what I'm
this?
saying.
What's this? Human evolution of cooperation of Homo Hayden I can't pronounce it. Theology versus oh fucking I can't say it either.
Don't talk.
Look at
What's
all this
theology got to
research
do with it?
papers
What's
on
theology
it.
got to do? It's got nothing to do with theology.
Theology, you tart.
Uh,
TEL. Theology. Look at all this research paper. Six over 16,000 hits in just this one. Are you telling me all this is bollocks?
it's
What's wrong
all
with you?
rubbish because you're not. They're not.
Why?
You're not proving how you get information that's not there between different kinds. They're not proving how you get all that extra information
Oh
that's
my.
unrelated between the different kinds.
You arrogant little
You're the one
boy.
that's
What's
arrogant. You are arrogant because I just told you
how
there's different information between.
look at all this
There's different
research. Look at
information
all this
between the
research.
kinds. You
Oh,
agree. You agree. There's information
look
between
at
the different kinds
oh,
that's unrelated.
too much evidence. Too much evidence for me to
That's
handle.
not
What
evidence.
what
That's not evidence. You proved nothing to me. You proved
what?
absolutely nothing.
What? How? What? How? Tell me. These are research papers. How? What?
And what does the research paper say? What did
Well,
it say
find
that
out and click on
proves that
them.
there's information that's not there?
It's
That you can come
using
up with information that's not there?
genetics.
How does that
This
prove it?
paper, this paper is called
How does a
Genetic Drift and
paper prove
Evolution.
that you can come up with information that's not there? Answer me.
Oh my
Answer me.
god,
Answer
you
me.
imbecile! No,
Answer me.
you no,
How does a
no.
paper prove that you can come up with
Look.
information that's not there?
Doing a
Answer me.
genomic analysis. Do you know what a
Answer me. You're
genomic
being
analysis is?
disingenuous. You're being
No,
dishonest.
this is even using math. That's how idiotic you are. The math even proves it. I mean,
No,
what?
there's no equation for coming up with information
Oh,
that's not there. You're being
yes,
ignorant. Now you're being
all this
totally ignorant
information,
because every honest person,
all of
every
this.
honest biologist knows that there's no
The
equation
fuck?
for evolution. There's no
Oh, look at all
equation
this.
to come up with information that's
Look
not
at all
there.
this.
You should
Look
know
at
better than that.
that. Look at this.
You should know
I
better than
don't
that.
get it. I'm presenting you actual evidence and you're saying it's bollocks? That's
No,
just
there's no actual
retarded.
evidence.
What
There's
is
no
this
actual
then?
evidence. We're coming up with
It's
information
in the
that's not there
journal
between
Molecular Biology and Evolution. This is just one journal. What? This is these are 10 papers out
You
of over
gotta be honest with
5,000.
yourself. Be honest with yourself.
What's
Where is
this?
the information coming from? Where is the
Oh,
information coming
you
from
give me
for the different
cancer.
kinds?
Yeah. Oh my God.
For the different kinds, where is that coming from?
You
Be
just
honest with
what's a
yourself.
kind? What's a kind in biology? It's not a
A
taxon.
kind is
It's
the
not a
original kind.
taxon.
A horse, it's a
It's
cat,
not
it's an
a
elephant,
taxon. It's
it's
not
a
a
it's a
taxon. It's
cat,
not
it's
a
a horse, it's a dog, it's an elephant. Those are kinds.
species, you retard. These are not.
We
What?
know that they're related. We know that horses are horses. We know that cats are cats. We know that dogs are
Oh,
dogs.
you.
We don't know
And.
that everything came from the same kind of fish that walked out of the
Oh
water. We
my
don't know that
God.
because you can't come up with information for all those transformations. You can't prove any part of
Oh
evolution.
my.
There's no
You,
part,
you, agree, you agree to
no
the
single
definitions.
no
You agree to
single
the
part of
definitions.
evolution you can prove. You can't come up with any of the information.
What's this paper then? Here, another one. Ring distributions leading to species formation, a global topographic analysis of geographic barriers associated with ring
If
species.
you're comparing different body
Look, the
forms, that doesn't
conclusions.
prove
All these
anything.
findings
It
confirm
doesn't prove
topographic
where the
conditions
information's coming
that
from.
evolutionary processes leading to
That
ring species
process is
are in fact rare.
imagined.
They also what? This is a
It's
paper
imagined.
reflecting
That
it.
process is imagined
What?
between different
You
kinds.
agreed. You agreed to the processes.
No,
Again,
I agreed to
what you
horizontal variation and recombination.
what's
I didn't
that
agree to.
mean?
I did
Where
not
is that?
agree to coming up with
Where is
information that's not there.
you
You
agreed to
can't account for the information that's not there between different kinds.
you agreed to genetic recombination. You agreed to
So you're being disingenuous,
adaptation.
dishonest.
Adaptation,
You're
and
being
you agreed.
dishonest and disingenuous.
You
You're being
agreed to
very
adaptation and natural
disingenuous and
selection.
dishonest.
You agreed to adaptation and natural
I
selection
agreed to
on this
variation
hangout.
of the same kind.
Oh,
I
Jesus
agreed to
fucking
variation of the
Christ
same
on a
kind. I
stick.
did not
You are.
agree to coming up with information that's not there.
This is data showing this, and you're just ignoring it on what? What the fuck are you ignoring it on?
Don't
Well, look
curse on
at
my
this.
hangout. Don't curse on my hangout.
Well, get an
Learn how to speak
education or
without
go
cursing.
to the. I'm not cursing now. Jesus. What is
Yeah, so
this? This is
now you're using
data.
God's name in vain.
Oh, diddly thumb. I don't care. Look at this research data and you're ignoring it based on what
You're not
reason?
showing me how you get the information that's not there between the different kinds.
Oh, for.
How did you come up with all the information between different kinds?
What
It's different.
information?
The information that makes a dog, and a cat,
Do you know what?
and an
Do
elephant,
you
an
know what
elephant.
genetic recombination is? Do you
That
know what
does not
genetic recombination?
explain.
What?
That
What
does
is
not
it? What is
explain
it?
where you
What
got
is
the
it? What is
information.
it?
The
What is
difference
it?
between a dog, and a cat, and a cat.
What is genetic recombination?
Recombinates the same information, the
What?
same kind. It's a recombination of the same
What?
thing. It
No,
doesn't come
no,
up.
no, 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 no. It's not.
It
Genetic.
doesn't come up with information
Oh.
that's not there.
Okay.
It can
Okay.
only change what's already there. Do you
Do you know what?
understand that?
Do you know
Do
the
you
process of
understand?
which
Do you understand that it can only
jungle?
change
Do
what's already there?
you know how genetic engineering is done? It uses recombination. You insert a new gene into a plasmid, and then the first
Are you talking
generation.
about intentional insertions or
And you see
what?
this in the wild.
But there's no insertions in the wild.
Okay, then
You
yes.
don't
Okay, then
search
I'll give you
new
a paper on
information
just
other than
that. Then I'll give you a
various
paper on
bacteria.
just okay. I'll give you a paper on just
That
that.
disproves, even if there are insertions, that disproves evolution because it remains a bacteria. It could easily, theoretically, it could easily change into something else, but it never does. It always stays a
What?
bacteria.
There's reasons.
Even though it could theoretically it could use any DNA from any animal, and it
You're
could become
mentally breaking
anything
me,
it
mate.
wants to become. It could become anything it wants, but it stays a bacteria. That
Okay,
disproves
okay. I found the
evolution.
paper. I found the paper. No, no, it doesn't. Oh my god. Okay, I found the paper. I found the paper. Okay. Oh my god, that pasta smells good. Okay. Oh, wow. You just. I've got to make sure this is the right paper. Yes, it is.
You
Okay.
guys are being really
This shows
dishonest, disingenuous.
this shows genetic recombination. I have to go to the conclusion sections because I
Well,
wasn't
there's
reading the
nothing
paper.
wrong with recombination of
Nature.
the same thing. Nobody's
No,
arguing against recombination.
it is a um it's a parasite with the with it's been a while since I read this one.
Yeah, you have viruses that insert DNA, but it doesn't change what the thing is. It
I'm
doesn't
just
change. It
showing you.
doesn't.
I'm showing you that genetic recombinations happens in the wild.
You're talking about
Okay.
insertions?
So this then will introduce this
You're talking about
can
viral insertions?
this insertion which happened in the wild was positive. The host can no longer get a certain disease. It's a positive trait
But
that
it
has been
remains what it
expressed
was,
in
right?
the
It
organism.
remained whatever it was. It remains what it was.
What?
It remained
But
what it.
it's a positive adaptation. Well, not really
But
adaptation.
nobody's
It's
denying
pro-evolutionary.
adaptation. Nobody's denying responding to the environment. Nobody's denying recombination.
That is evolution. Congratulations.
No, it's
Adapt.
not. No, it's
Yes.
not, because
What
evolution requires
adaptation?
coming up with information that's not there. You have no way of coming up with information that's not there. You can only change what's
It's
already there. That's
it's
the only
genetic
thing you can do.
recombination.
You can't come up with information that's not there.
Okay.
Hold on a
Do you know
second.
how you were born? Do you know how conception works? The male sperm and the female egg. Do you know what the process is? Jungle?
Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Do you know the process of a male sperm and a zygote and so forth? Do you know what this process is?
Yeah,
It's
what about it?
recombination.
It's recombination. Yeah, yeah.
So you've got new information.
No, it's
If
not. No,
I've
it's new. It's recombination of what was of existing information.
look.
It's
I'm going to give
not
you an
new
analogy.
information. There's nothing new about the information. It's recombination of what was already there, what was already existing.
You do
You can't
realize that
use you can't
you
use
do
pre-existing design as evidence of no design.
okay. You do realize that there's copying errors when things are being transcribed from your parents and
So
your parents' DNA to
how does
you.
that come up with information that's not there?
That will either
Copying
delete
errors
some.
does not produce information that's not there. There's entire
Talking to
sections
a
of
brick
information
wall.
that's totally unrelated between the different
What do you
kinds
mean
of
by
animals.
information? Do you know what a
There's
nucleotide is?
entire sections of DNA that's totally absent between the different kinds. You have no way of coming up with that information.
What do you do know what you mean by information, right?
Yes.
What? What do you mean?
Information makes every directed working
Of
part of you.
of information of what? It's
Of
not a
the
book in your
proteins, and the structure and form and
what?
everything.
What? A protein isn't information. What?
Oh yeah? If that information is not correct, it's not going to be the protein that it needs to be.
Oh, no! Oh my God! No! Do you know what a
It's
pro?
specific
What does
information.
it?
To make a protein, you have to have specific information.
What
And
does
you
a
can't
gene
come up
code?
with that specific combination in 20
What's a
billion years.
codon? What's a
You can't
codon?
come
What's a
up with a
codon?
specific combination to make any of the
What's a codon?
proteins.
What's a codon? A codon. CODON. What's a
Just
codon?
ignore what I just said.
What's a codon?
Ignore what I just said.
CODON. Codon. You
Ignore what
said
I
a
just said.
protein. What? You said protein is information. Well,
Ignore what
how
I
does a
just said.
protein? what I'm asking you what a codon is, because you're inherently wrong on what a protein, quote unquote, information. Do you know what a codon is? What's a
Tell me
codon?
what you think a codon. What's your definition of a codon is?
So you're
What's your
trying to
label of codon? Tell me
so
what it is.
Jungle, you're trying to debunk
Tell me what
genetics,
it
and you
is. I
don't
know
understand
that proteins are
what's a
specific
codon.
sequence. It's a specific sequence that makes every protein there is, and you have no way of coming up with any of them in 20 billion years. In 20 billion
Someone,
years,
one
you have
minute.
no evidence of coming up with a single protein.
Someone, so you just said a protein makes a protein. Do you know what protein synthesis is?
You have to have the information to make a protein, and you have to have the protein to make the information.
Um,
Uh, uh, uh,
what do genes code for? What do genes code for?
part of some of the genes code for protein. What do you want?
Oh, about time. Oh, finally.
What do you want?
So, what do you mean by information?
The
It's not a
information to
book.
make the
It's not
protein.
a book.
Some of the
It's not a
DNA is
book.
information to make the protein. What do you
It's
want?
chemistry. It's chemistry. It's not like it's a
It's
book.
directed chemistry. Directed. It's
What do you
specifically
mean it's directed?
sequenced. It's specifically sequenced chemistry.
What do you mean it's specifically
It's
sequenced
not
chemistry?
random chemistry. It's
We'll
specifically
explain
sequenced. It's
copying
specifically
errors.
sequenced. It's specifically sequenced chemistry.
What do you
You
mean?
guys are not being honest.
What does this mean?
You're not being honest. You're not
Directed.
being genuine.
But do you mean it's directed by by chemistry?
Regard pre-existing written directives that no natural thing can write, can sequence.
We're not talking about
There's
a
no
fucking
element, there's
book.
no
We're
element, there's no
talking.
physical thing that can significantly sequence any part of what you are.
We know. We're not talking about the books here, Jungle,
You're making
or
all kinds of
actual code.
assumptions and you have no evidence for any part of what you believe.
Do you know what the structure of DNA is?
You have no evidence for any part
Do
of
you
what
know,
you believe.
do you know what the genetic? Sorry, do you know what the structure of DNA is?
Yeah, I know
Do
what
you
it
know
is.
the structure? What is it? Don't Google it. What is it?
It's a structure that holds information. It's a two-sided structure that holds all the information to make every directed working part of what you are.
Oh my! You don't even know.
Oh, it doesn't make every directed working part of what you are?
Directed by what? What do you mean by directed? That has no biological or
It's
chemical
directed by
term.
the pre-existing written directives.
So you're talking about the chemistry of base
It's
pairing.
specifically sequenced chemistry.
So what happens when that gets errors?
You can't get specifically sequenced chemistry by a random cause. And you can't get it by evolution either. You
What is
can't get
chemistry?
that's what I'm trying to tell you. You cannot get the information that's not there.
What is copying errors?
You're only going to degrade what's already there. You're going to have variations of what's already there. It's a recombination of what's already there. You're not coming up with new information that's not there.
You don't even know what the terms are.
Don't even say what I do or not. You're not even responding to what the issues are. You're not even recognizing the problem. You're not even recognizing the problem. You don't even recognize the problem between information that's already there, changing information that's already there, from coming up with new information that's not there. You don't even see the difference. Or you're not being honest. That's the whole point of the discussion. You're not being honest. You're totally disingenuous. You're lying to people. You're lying to children. Yeah, laugh all you want. Like the Burger King commercial. Like the Burger King commercial. You're laughing. You have nothing to say, so all you can do is laugh. And it proves nothing. Only the fact that you have nothing to say. You have absolutely zero valid
You couldn't even explain to me what DNA is.
evidence to say.
I'm done. I've got to go. My mate's here. I'm gone.
I don't have to explain your definition of what DNA is. I know it's a double helix. I know it has all the information for the proteins and all, it regulates all kinds of stuff. I know that. Biologists just don't even understand everything that it is. You're still being disingenuous. And ignorant, and willingly ignorant. But you can't tell me anything because you're not proving anything. That's it. Every last one of them. Bring me any scientist. Bring me any scientist. Bring me any biologist. Bring me anybody. They can never come up with how they get information that's not there. You're changing information that's already there. That's not evolution. You have no way of coming up with the information that's not there. Whether it's biogenesis, whether it's evolution from one thing to the other, no part of it, no step of evolution has ever been shown to have any relevance at all or evidence. It's totally absurd. And you guys don't deserve the positions that you have teaching kids all this nonsense of a fairy tale belief that you believe in. Object credit giver, pagan worshippers. That's all you are. Teaching kids nonsense. And I've had enough of it. I've had enough of your nonsense. And unless you can come up with any information, you're not going to prove nothing to me. And you have nothing to tell me. That's all there is to it. Go cry somewhere else.